Several sources are telling CBS News that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is considering ending his presidential campaign. His running mate, Nicole Shanahan, has said that Kennedy, who is addressing the country tomorrow, is contemplating throwing his support behind Donald Trump. I want to bring in Trump campaign senior advisor Danielle Alvarez now to discuss this. Danielle, it's good to see you. So CBS News has confirmed that independent candidate RFK Jr. is strongly considering dropping out, endorsing Donald Trump. Is your campaign engaged in any conversations with him about that decision or about any kind of role for him in a Trump administration?
Well, that decision will certainly be RFK's, but I will echo what President Trump has said in that we would love the support of RFK if he chooses to back President Trump. I mean, the reality is that President Trump has brought together a very diverse coalition because of his record, his 4 years in the White House, and because of the policy promises that he is making in order to secure a second term.
But is there any discussion going on right now between your campaign and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Because we know that he has spoken to your campaign in the past and has tried to speak to the Harris campaign about trying to secure some kind of cabinet post in exchange for him dropping out.
As was discussed during the Republican National Convention and as was tweeted, he has reached out to our campaign in the past, but at this moment, the decision will be with him on the future of his campaign, as well as if he puts his support behind President Trump. And so I would have to direct you over to the RFK camp. What I can say about the Trump campaign is that we would welcome his support because we welcome a very broad coalition of individuals to join President Trump's MAGA movement.
Okay, I want to ask you about something President Trump wrote last night that's getting a lot of attention. He posted that, quote, the highly overrated Jewish governor of Pennsylvania made a really bad and poorly delivered speech. Now, Governor Shapiro was asked about this morning. He said that Trump is obsessed with him. He said that Trump keeps peddling anti-Semitic tropes. Why did Mr. Trump bring up Shapiro's religion like that?
Well, I don't believe that it was anti-Semitic. I think it was a commentary on the speech that Governor Shapiro made. And it's really a commentary on the entire DNC. I mean, it's been a disaster. They've spoken very vaguely. They've had very vague themes all throughout the night. And basically, the only message that you're hearing from the DNC is, well, we're not them. You're right. You are not President Trump, who delivered a humming economy, who had low prices, who had a secure border, who had peace through strength at home and abroad. And so they have no message to deliver to the American people, and that's to be expected. If they can't govern and run a White House for 3.5 years, how did we expect them to have a good convention? It's run over time. They have no policies to share with the American people. Kamala doesn't even have a policy tab on her website. And so it's just been an absolute disaster. And that's the commentary from the Trump campaign towards the DNC. It'd be really nice if she took some interviews, if she took some questions instead of some prepared teleprompter responses to really answer and dive deep into what she plans and what her values are as we head into November.
But Danielle, isn't it politics 101 that if Trump wants to win Pennsylvania, the biggest battleground state, why does he keep attacking the popular governor of Pennsylvania who is not on the Democratic ticket?
Sure, but I would also throw it back and say that Kamala Harris didn't choose the governor of Pennsylvania because she went radical and she went left and she went to Tim Walz. We're ahead in Pennsylvania. We have an incredible ground game. I encourage anybody watching to check out Trump Force 47 and join our team because we are up in the battleground states and we have the right message to win in Pennsylvania. It's that economic message about bringing back an economy, unleashing American energy, which Kamala Harris has been deeply against. Those are the items that President Trump is focused on that will help deliver us not just the nation, but the critical battleground state of Pennsylvania.
Danielle, we've heard from a number of Republican officials at this Democratic convention, all questioning Donald Trump's character. For example, here's a snippet from the former lieutenant governor of Georgia.
These days, our party acts more like a cult worshiping a felonious thug. Look, you don't have to agree with every policy position of Kamala Harris. I don't. But you do have to recognize her prosecutor mindset that understands right from wrong, good from evil.
So, Danielle, you contrast that with your convention last month, where all of the Republican former presidents, former first ladies, vice presidents didn't even show up. They stayed away. So how can you win if you cannot even hold on to folks who are within your own party?
We were an absolutely unified party at our Republican National Convention. President Trump had just survived a heinous assassination attempt. We were an absolutely united party. We prosecuted a message every single night about what voters care about, whether it was making America wealthy again and focusing on the economy, a night focusing on immigration, a night focusing on crime, a night focusing on national security. And what I would say is that Democrats have not prosecuted those same messages. They have not talked about policy positions during this convention. That is what voters care about. Again, I repeat, they have been absolutely vague. They're not willing to answer any questions. I challenge anybody to come on this network and deliver what Kamala Harris stands for. In fact, I challenge Kamala Harris or Tim Walz to do so, who have ascended the throne and have refused to take a single interview. It's absolutely appalling. And with 75 days left until the election, we deserve answers.
Well, actually, just spoke a few moments ago with a top official from the Harris campaign about her platform, and he discussed what she's running on and what she wants to achieve. But nevertheless, I have one more question for you. Mr. Trump, curiously, has been falsely claiming that Vice President Harris met with Vladimir Putin. He said it at a campaign event, then he said it on Fox News. It is not true. Why is he saying that?
I'm not familiar with those remarks, but what I can say is that Kamala Harris traveled to Germany and told Russia not to invade Ukraine, and several days later they did. She's not taken seriously on the world stage. She is not a serious leader. In fact, we're coming up on the anniversary of the failed Afghanistan withdrawal, which will take place on Monday the 26th, when 13 service members were tragically killed because of the Harris-Biden administration's failures. And Kamala Harris is on TV bragging about being the last person in the room. Let's not forget that additionally, she is the border czar who has been unable to end the crisis at our southern border. President Trump was there today with the families of slain victims of Kamala Harris's border bloodbath. And so Kamala Harris has been absolutely weak on the world stage. And I go back and point out that she was in Germany and told Russia not to invade Ukraine, and they did. Under her failures and her weak leadership, the world is unsafe. And we have to return to President Trump's strength.
Danielle Alvarez with the Trump campaign, joining us live from West Palm Beach, Florida. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.